it is a different thing, I guess.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm getting at. How often is somebody able to back up the hype?
Honestly, that's very rare. I feel like it's very easy to discover really good talent and people that have some positive attributes, and it's very rare to find something that's truly something great. With Haley, that's one of the few times in my life. I think in my career, there's probably been 3 total. So
Haley Williams was one of them. She comes to Nashville from Meridian, Mississippi, but no band.
Right.
So what was the next step? Because we all know her from Paramore.
Right. So I started working with her, and from the get-go, she made it known that she really wanted this to be a band. And at the time, she'd been working with some guys from Franklin, Tennessee. They'd hung out as friends at school and had rehearsed a couple times. And I guess, you know, when you're 15, you rehearse a couple times, you're a band, right? So, I mean, but that's what she wanted from the very beginning. And I know there's been a lot of talk about there being put together band or whatever, and that was simply not the case. These were friends of hers and people that she wanted to be a band, and she wanted it to not be about Haley Williams. She wanted it to be about Paramore. So
it sounds like she kind of came with a business sense as well as a musical sense.
She really did. She knew from even, it's kind of amazing. Even from that early age, she had a strong idea of what she saw her identity being. So,
well, I think it's one thing though for you to see your own identity, and then when you get connected with music business people, they've got their ideas for you. So did her identity stay true to what everybody saw?
You know, I think so. I think vocalists obviously stand out for obvious reasons, especially those that are writing and those that are bringing the lyrical content of the music. So obviously she stood out really from the beginning to everyone, but I think everybody respected that it had to be a band and that she wanted to be seen from that perspective as a band.
You're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm with Dave Steunebrink today of Showdown Management. We're talking about Paramore, how that band got started. So you've got the band together. Talk about getting the deal. Was that easy? Was that as easy as your New Zealand band?
The deal came about fairly easily. You know, Atlantic had basically stepped up to want to sign the band through a couple of A&R people, Tom Storms and Steve Robertson. They brought them to Jason Flom, who at the time was really head of A&R and at Atlantic, and Jason had already an amazing track record with his Lava Records imprint, signing Kid Rock and a lot of very successful bands, Matchbox 20 and etc. So initially that's where the deal went, and we signed the deal with them.
To get the attention of these record guys in the first place, did you just call them up? Did you have to send demos in like everybody else would, or how did that work?
So we spent probably the good part of a year or so getting the guys writing and working with some different writers and producers around town, and just demoing up a lot of those songs and then getting them in front of record company people. All of that led to a couple of people coming to town and seeing some showcases. And interestingly enough, Jason Flom flew into town for a showcase that I thought was really not a great showcase for the band. Again, they were all really young, just still getting their chops as players, and there was something obviously magical there, but it wasn't seasoned by any means. But I got to give him credit for seeing what that was, and he kind of came into town and saw the show, and it was just one of those situations where I was like, oh man, this just isn't going well. And he came out being like, I love this is amazing, and wanted to sign the band. So I was like, okay, that's great, let's go with that.
Dave, showcase is a word that we've heard dozens of times on Music Business Radio, but I don't think I've ever asked the question that I'm about to ask now, which is, I want to get into the details of what a showcase is. Is it at a club? Are you doing it at a rehearsal studio? Who's in the audience? Is it just the A&R guys? Is it just a regular show?
Well, in a lot of cases, showcases happen in rehearsal rooms like a SIR or a sound check that we have here in Nashville. And for the most part, when labels want to see a band, that's how it will work. In this case, with Paramore, it was very interesting. It actually happened at a church youth group, which is something probably very surprising to a lot of people. As I said, the guys had met at a school group that met at this church building, and they had allowed them to play this night. It was a Wednesday night, and there was a youth group present, and it was pretty interesting because you have this really powerful record executive that signed these amazing people come in his black car service, dropped off at this church to see this band playing in front of a youth group, and it was a very different situation to most. So yeah, that was a very unique situation.
Because I guess these guys were so young, they're not going out playing clubs.
Exactly. They're all still at the stage, 15. I think Zach, the drummer, was 14. Yeah, not even legally admissible probably to most places like that.
Was that something that they considered when signing them to a label, or something that you considered when signing them to management, that, hey, these guys can't even get out and play?
Honestly, no. I think that the talent rose above all of that. Haley's voice and the songs that were coming out, I think, just seemed to, in my mind, eclipse all of those thoughts of, well, what are we going to do with this? But just was something that I thought was great and really connected with just everybody that we put them in front of. So
I want to play one of her songs now. It's an early one, I know. It's called Conspiracy. The album is called All We Know Is Falling. Introduce this song for me. Tell me what it's about.
Yeah, so this song was one of the earliest songs, and if my memory serves me correct, was one of the songs that Haley had written on her own in the very early stages of, actually prior to getting signed. And to me, it's one of those ones that really stood out and kind of showcases the 13-year-old songwriter in her, and I think will give everybody an idea of like what the kind of thing that we were looking at and the thing that we saw in her and the band.
The song is Conspiracy, the album Paramore. Dave Steunebrink is my guest today. He's from Showdown Management. We're going to talk more about Paramore and how they broke when we come back on Music Business Radio.
Please speak softly, for they will hear us, and they'll find out why we don't trust them. Speak out, dear, 'cause I cannot hear you. I need to know why we don't trust them. Explain to me this conspiracy against me. And tell me how I've lost my power.
Hey everyone, this is Craig Alvin. I'm an audio engineer and mixer in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
On Tap. Lightning 100's free monthly concert series continues at Tin Roof on Demumbrian, Wednesday, August 20th. Enjoy great deals on great grub. This ain't no bar food. On Tap for August features performances by Chris Carpenter,
She hit the ground and she started running. Obviously she was young, she had saw it coming.
Koa,
But I say, cool it down, to the only thing on my mind. Cool it down, to the only thing on my mind.
and Coattails.
From a centerfold, there we can replace. Don't bake me a cake with that egg on your face, love.
All for free. The On Tap concert series Wednesday night, August 20th, 8 o'clock sharp. On Tap is brought to you by Blue Chair Bay Rum, Tin Roof Nashville, and Nashville's independent radio, Lightning 100.
Hi, this is Grace Potter with my band The Nocturnals, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
Whatever makes you
listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass in the music business. I'm David Hooper, your host. And with me today, Dave Steunebrink of Showdown Management. Been talking about Paramore. You just heard the song Misery Business off the album Riot. That was 2007. I'm going to take it back a couple years previous to that. The album All We Know Is Falling, that was their debut album. Yep. And this is actually probably prior to that, because we're talking about how you actually got the album recorded, what you did to get the album heard, because you had a very interesting promotional strategy for these guys.
Well, we knew that the band was still really young and still developing. At the time, Avril Lavigne was sort of blowing up. She was kind of doing this sort of pop-punk kind of thing, and there was sort of a backlash to that because I think there was a sentiment out there that it wasn't really legit. It was a little bit made up, and I don't know whether there was truth to that or not, but we felt that Haley and the guys had a lot more credibility in a rock sense. So because of the youthfulness of them both, we wanted to make sure that they weren't sort of in that same, or seen in that same kind of category. We talked to the label, and to Jason Flom's credit, at the time we said we don't want to go to radio right away. We don't want to do national publicity. We just want to give this band a chance to develop. At the time, Warner had just signed a deal with Fueled by Ramen, this independent label from Tampa, Florida, run by John Janik. So we all discussed the idea of actually downstreaming the band to Fueled by Ramen, and thinking that this would give the band an opportunity to really just get out on the road for the next couple of years and really develop truly as a band, develop their chops, and, you know, become who we thought they could be. And so that's what we did, and you know, just looking back, I'm thankful for that opportunity that the label had to have that long-term approach to what we're doing, where typically you would be pushing a label to come out with a single and hit it hard and make it successful, and a lot of times that would result in failure because the single didn't happen or whatever might be the case. But in a sense, we're trying to buy time, but really just give the band an opportunity to develop. So,
how rare is that? I imagine it would be very easy, as you're talking about, just to go ahead and go for it. You want it now. We're an instant results business and certainly community. So how rare is that people are willing to wait and take the chance on that?
I think it's very rare. At the time, I think it was very rare, even though that was a while ago, but I think it's even less so these days. So I don't think we see that much, and a lot of the discipline that I think we had with the band's career was to try to hold everybody back and to have patience to take the time to do it right. And that's not easy to make happen, because especially when you have success and you start to see the seeds of success developing, everybody wants to then just sort of full steam ahead and really go for it to blow things up to make them as successful as possible. And that became a real discipline on all of us to make sure that we took our time to do what we thought was the right thing to do with the band.
You're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm here with Dave Steunebrink of Showdown Management. We're talking about Paramore, how they came to be the success that they are. And one of the ways that you guys structured the deal, we'll say, that enabled you to wait so long to break them and make sure they were ready was what we call a 360 deal today.
Yeah.
So did you invent the 360 deal? Am I right about that?
I don't know. We sometimes get the blame for that. Well,
let's talk about the good things.